Welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. This is part 2 of Into the Weekend with BetDSI, the call we do every Thursday with Brent from BetDSI. Right now we're going to look at the NFL. We just got finished talking about college. Now we're going to take a look at the betting action that Brent has seen from NFL Week 6. All right, Brent, let's start off with Detroit and Philly. Now, I thought that Detroit would be a big sharp side. The guy we did a call with in SBR Videos said that he liked Philly, but I have to assume that the sharp action you've seen on that game has been all on Detroit, right?
You would be correct on that, Peter. We have got, a lot of sharp money on Detroit. They were taking plus 4.5 and 4. Right now, the count's pretty much even, so it's kind of balanced off. But our money right now, just because we've had so many sharp bets drowning out the public money, our money's about 3-1 in favor of Detroit right now. So we're going to need to get a little more Philadelphia money. That's been a heavily bet game. We also have heavy money on that total. A lot of money on the over 47, 47.5, and we finally took some under money at 48. Seems like a high total for me, but who knows?
Was that sharp money on the under?
We had sharp money both ways. The over 47 was sharp. They bet it, two different groups split on this one. With the over 47, we went to 47.5. The public kind of was betting that. As soon as we went to 48, though, we got sharp money on the under.
Okay, and I also heard another sharp side was Tampa Bay Buccaneers minus 4 or whatever. Is that what you've seen as well?
Well, I've seen sharp and public money on Tampa Bay right now. We've got really little support for Kansas City.
Right.
The money's about 6-1 in favor of Tampa Bay. The count's about 3-1. Anything where you can buy -3, -1/4, and some bets at -3.5 on Tampa Bay have been what you would consider sharp. We've kind of stopped the action more than anything else, sitting at Tampa Bay -4.5. But we haven't got sharp money back on Kansas City yet, and we really need some.
So that's going to be a decision game for you then, probably.
Right now, it's going to be a big decision game for us, and the total as well. We took under money at 43, 42, 41.5, and it's just kind of stopped at 40.5 now.
Okay. All right. And then another interesting game in line is the Giants at 49ers. This, of course, is a revenge game. The Niners opened up, I think, about 5, and that line has actually gotten bet up. It's creeping towards 7 now. But the Giants, of course, are also a public team a lot of the time. So I'm wondering what drove that line up?
I'm surprised, too, Peter, that line went up. I thought we'd get a lot of sharp money coming in on the New York Giants, but we haven't yet. We've got a little bit of sharp money on San Francisco, but they're pretty much split right now. We've got big volume in terms of dollar volume on this game, but we're really, really even. We did take sharp money under 46.5, but we've got public money betting the over 46 where we are right now.
All right. So then the sharp's opinion so far in that game has been the Niners, even though they're more than a field goal favorite.
Yes, slightly, but not a whole lot. I mean, I can see there's just no way we're going to go above 6.5 on San Francisco. I can't see that going to 7. Even now, I think you probably closer to game time, you might find some sharps who'll come in and take the Giants +7, buying a half a point.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if that line dropped back down, though.
Okay, and then another game that just screams sharp public split is the Patriots at Seattle. The Pats are about a 3.5-point road favorite. Got to assume public loves the Pats, and that there has been decent sharp action on Seattle as a home dog.
Yeah, you got that one right, Peter.
Right.
We've taken decent sharp money on Seattle +3.5, but it's just, I think last week was the first time since Jesus was a boy that we were actually balanced on a New England Patriots game. We seem to need whoever they're playing every single week, and this is going to be a case like that as well. The count is 7-1 in favor of New England. The money's about 5-1 in favor of New England. So we're going to need Seattle to show up at home, which they often do.
All right, and then another game that has kind of a weird line. I'm going to stay off it. I'm just curious to see what kind of action you've seen on it. Is Dallas at Baltimore. Dallas is off the bye. Baltimore is off of a kind of an ugly win. Baltimore's a medium-sized home favorite. What kind of action have you seen on that one?
We saw a little bit of sharp money on Baltimore when it was when you could buy -3, -20, stuff like that. Since we've been to 3.5, we've got two-way action there, so we're pretty much balanced at this point. The count is about 2-1 in favor of Baltimore, but it's one of those games where I think people are still trying to figure Dallas out.
And then one obvious big side you're going to need, or a teaser side you're going to need, is the Falcons. I'm assuming that the Falcons, as a teaser, is going to be a huge need for you, right?
Well, we're going to need Oakland, you mean?
Oakland, right. That's what I mean. The Falcons to lose their teasers. Right.
Yeah, and the good thing in this situation, this is another one like the New England game where we've got sharp money on Oakland +8.5, +9.5, and we've got public money all over Atlanta. The count is 8-1 in terms of the number of bets we've taken on Atlanta, which is a really huge number. But we're feeling comfortable with the sharps being with us on Oakland +8.5 and +9.5. Right now, we're at -9 with Atlanta. We could see that line get driven up by public money to 9.5, but I think you would see sharps swoop in, taking Oakland plus 10, buying a half point there. But we already saw them come in plus 9.5, so we'll probably stay where we are.
All right, so that's going to be a stark split game then, right? Sharp
one we've got a lot of teaser money on Atlanta, as you mentioned. New England, of course, is another one just drowned in teasers, and Baltimore's being thrown in a lot of teasers as well.
Okay, and then before we move on to the rest of the card, Green Bay at Houston is the Sunday night game. I have to assume that's going to be a huge volume game for you, right?
Yeah, it's already been a big volume game for us, and by kickoff it'll be really big. I mean, that's a great matchup. They've done a pretty poor job of these Thursday night games so far, but Sunday night have been some pretty decent games. Right now, our money's about 2-1 in favor of Green Bay. Our count's pretty much even, and Green Bay's always going to get a lot of support from publics and sharps. I mean, they're a decent team, and that's going to be just a really good game. Where hopefully we'll just sit back and hope it doesn't land on a 3.
That's surprising. So even though Houston's so awesome this year and Green Bay lost to the Colts last week, the public is still backing them, huh?
Well, Green Bay's Green Bay. I guess people just kind of can't get that out of their heads. I mean, last week was a good example too with New Orleans. I mean, we had a ton of money on New Orleans when they were just a terrible looking side at home to San Diego, but they came through.
All right, and then is there anything else from the NFL card that caught your eye? Big public sides, sharp sides, or big decision games for you that we haven't talked about?
Well, another sharp side would be Miami. We had a lot of support for Miami, -3, -1/4, people buying down 3.5 to 3 flat. We're at 4 right now, so that's a situation where the sharps are seeing a lot of value on kind of a game, again, that isn't very marquee. St. Louis at Miami. It's kind of like people are, public doesn't really want to get involved. Sharps don't care. They're involved, and they really like Miami on that one. And the Minnesota-Washington, we'll just touch on that. There's no line out right now based on RG3 and his status, just to let your listeners know. Probably, if he does play, you're looking at an opening number of around 2.5 on Washington. If he doesn't go, I wouldn't be surprised if that game was a pick, or maybe Minnesota even -1.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see what the line is and how it turns out. Thanks so much once again, Brent, and we will talk to you next week.